in that part of Hidalgo County. I'll put that in motion there and see just how things are working out. Let's go ahead and back it up and get to the moderate risk of rainfall overnight tonight is heavy. So flooding is going to continue to be an issue for overnight tonight. That is absolute and true. Now, look at the latest coming on through, and we'll show you that the camera doesn't lie. We end up with a lot of rain, so 2 to 3 inches over the last several hours and more on the way. I want to put that into motion and let you see just how things are moving along for the Rio Grande Valley. Radar, there we go. Pow. We can see that indeed we have this continuing to move to the east-southeast. It's moving at a pretty good clip. It's been moving at 30 to 40 miles an hour, and you see some of the lightning associated with it. But it's really kind of hard to get your brain around, I know, because a tornado, wow, that's got to be something huge, and it's got to be something horrible. Well, it is bad, but it's still these tornadoes that are generated by, or at least the tornado signature, generated by a tropical event like this, typically are weak and typically are short-lived. If you are in a permanent structure, even a modern mobile home, you have no worries from these. Stay indoors and let it pass. Now, if you know of somebody or you're in a situation where you're in a temporary structure, then yeah, you need to seek shelter in a permanent structure if you possibly can, if you are in the McAllen area at this time. So moving along, we'll go ahead and show you the watches and warnings. We have the tornado watch in effect for the entire valley. That's in effect until 7 o'clock. And then you have the tornado warning that's in effect until 9:30 for McAllen back through to La Jolla and then on down south near Hidalgo, just shy of Hidalgo there. It's a fairly small area, and as this continues to move off to the west, I think we'll see that continue to decrease in threat, overall threat. But I want you to just kind of get an idea of where we're talking about and what the threat is. The threat is the tornado warning, but the threat is also heavy rain and how we expect this all to play out. Take a look at our future radar product, and you can see just how things are going to continue to move along over the next couple of hours. The first batch that's generating the issue right now in the McAllen area pushes to the west, and then another batch comes in behind it, and another batch comes in behind that. So there's plenty to go around. That is for sure. And this is going to continue to be an issue for us for a while. But again, take a look at the threat potential there, and we look at the threat potential for hail. We also have hail in and around the Mission area and around Palmview and back in through west of McAllen. But that too is moving to the west, west-southwest with this system as it continues to be shoved by the overall flow of activity moving around the storm. Get you re-familiarized with Alberto. It's 300 miles south of the Rio Grande Valley, but its reach is capable of coming all the way around and toward the valley. It's a very efficient rain producer, and it's energizing our atmosphere, and that's what's generating the activity, the thunderstorm activity pushing across southern Hidalgo County right now. And you see how fast it's moving? I mean, that is, let's zoom on in and show you. That's just moving right at a good clip, right on through. And the lightning associated with it is fairly tame. I was expecting more of that, but no, the signature for a tornado was triggered by radar. So we don't have a tornado on the ground per se, and we certainly don't have a tornado like they get up in Dallas. That's not it at all. But we can see that now the box continues to show as well the opportunity for hail kind of right in there, nestled right in there, and that is a fairly good indicator that that's the part of the storm that we're most focused on. Now let's go ahead and talk about where this might be heading in terms of track. So we'll boil it on down and show you where we think this is going to be moving to over the course of the next, say, 30 minutes or so. I had showed you that we were focusing on this part of the storm and it moving at about 30, 40 miles an hour. Let's put it at about 40 right there, boom, right like that. And we can see that Grande, shortly after 9 o'clock, that part of the storm, that back part, but much of it has already pushed off to the east with all of this moving so fast. So let's go on down in closer and we'll see just who's impacted right now as this continues to move. I want to get a more accurate reading of the movement. There we go, right there. And right smack dab in the middle. Here we go. All right, we've got this west, 33 miles an hour. The force of this is moving at 33 miles an hour. South of Palmview, there's Panitas and Palmhurst, Alton, and moving to west of McAllen now. McAllen, you're basically done with this. It has already pushed to the west of your area. But Grande to Palmview and Panitas, this is still an issue as it moves on to the west, and you can see Panitas getting the lion's share of the middle part here at about 9:19. But it's such a blob that it's difficult to put. Okay, we have our latest update right there, and we can see, let's go ahead and click out of that and see just how this part of the storm represents the greatest threat. It's been producing hail and continues to move on to the west and southwest. This is what was driving the hail signature in the Mission area. But you can see now, right up 83, we're all familiar with this turn, right? As you head on 83 and you move on past Conway and then you're headed off toward Mission. That is right where we're seeing this hail threat right there, and it's going to continue to be an issue. I'm going to go ahead and turn the cities in such a way that we can more readily see what's happening across the valley. There we go. And you can also note that that tornado warning is in effect until about 9:30. And it's important to know that we are expecting that it will dissipate quickly and move off with this storm activity to the west over the next, say, 20, 30 minutes, really, simply because it has moved so fast. It's moving west at 33 miles an hour right now, and that tells us that, well, that's a good thing in terms of flooding potential with the heavy rain associated with it. But the tornado warning overall is just going to continue to drive onto the west. There you can see the storm top. It's fairly low. This is not the signature of a very ferocious thunderstorm rocking across any part of the Rio Grande Valley. This is a tropically induced scenario. In other words, the tropical nature of this activity gives way to those little tornadoes that spin up and push along and cause the radar to say, oh, there's a tornado out there. Again, if you're in a permanent structure, from a modern mobile home all the way to, the brick house, you're okay. As long as your house isn't made of straw, as long as you're one of the little pigs that lives in a stick house or the brick house, you're going to be okay. Just stay indoors, no problem. And that's pretty much how that's going to shake out there. I want to go ahead and clear that out, clear those skits out so we can move on in more toward where the storm is going. And La Jolla, you're seeing a bunch of that right now. Rio Grande City, just seeing some rain. But on the west side here, we see that we're looking at La Jolla and Sullivan City, seeing some of the action now. And not to say that there's a tornado headed your way, but I'm saying that this has history of producing that signature, as well hail. We've noted hail signature, and we've also noted that the rain can be heavy at times. Not as much lightning as I was thinking, but that's pretty much how it's shaking out. And overall, Freddie Vela is here in the studio with me, and he's got some of the latest information on what's going on with this group of thunderstorm activity in southern and southwestern Hidalgo County.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brian Hale. You know, we are now tracking that tornado warning that's in effect for portions of Hidalgo County. But I also want to talk about what we're seeing out there. Let's go ahead and pull up our weather camera. This is one of our TxDOT cameras, actually. This one is in the far area that's been showing not only the darkness that we've been seeing, but obviously a lot of rainfall that's been falling within the area. In just a moment, I'm going to go ahead and get those power outages and I'll be able to mark those down and deliver those out to you as well. This is a live look out of our DHR Health Cam out towards Edinburgh right now. As you can tell, slick roads out there. Obviously, the concern is going to be overall, we're looking at, where that rainfall is overall. So just be careful if you're going to be driving around the area. We just want you to be safe. Now, here's a look out of our FAR Bureau. Here's the thing, too. As we look out towards this region, you're actually going to be able to see that there have been plenty of crews out on the roadways. Just driving here from South Padre Island, where we've been seeing most working crews out there, making sure that everyone is safe and sound. Some of those exits were actually closed within the area. Now, as far as rain since midnight, doesn't look as impressive in certain spots, right? But then we've seen some more rain totals. That one's outdated. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Now, all of this is thanks to what we've been seeing with Tropical Storm Alberto, as that has been making its way on out towards the west. This is the latest information that has come in. We're seeing winds still at about 40 miles per hour. It is moving at west-southwest at around 9 miles per hour. And we've seen some move at around 15, 20 miles per hour. This one, a little bit slower out there, but not as organized as what we've seen in the past. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we've seen. Here we go. These are the rainfall totals over the past 24 hours. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. There, you'll be able to see some of the numbers, right? We've seen about 3.5 inches of rain just north of Harlingen, about 3 inches of rain as you get out towards San Benito, 2 3/4 inch out towards Westlaco, about 3 3/4 inch out towards McAllen, and about 3.5 inches as you get out towards Willacy County. As you get closer to Hidalgo, we're looking at about 2.5 inches out there. So that one little area that we've actually been pointing out that is under that tornado warning, that is where we are currently watching to see exactly what's happening. Again, we have been getting some reports of a few power outages out there, and we're actually going to bring those up in just a moment. I'm getting told, there it is. There are the power outages right now. AEP showing less than 200, Magic Valley Co-op showing less than 80. So not a huge amount here, but you got to remember, obviously the winds are a bit of concern. That's why we're getting some of these watches and warnings pop up. And then we're also seeing plenty of some cloudier conditions and windier conditions as we get out closer to the coast. Brian Hale has been tracking a lot of this within the area. I was out at South Padre Island. I can tell you how quickly things can deteriorate when we start to see some of the heavier showers. So Brian is back over at the weather wall. We're going to go ahead and send it back over to him. Brian, what's the latest on what we're seeing with this warning?
Well, this activity continues. So let's take our second weather computer, and the activity is continuing to make its move on in west. It was moving west at 33 miles an hour just a few moments ago, and that's going to continue to be the case of aggressive westward movement simply because this is affiliated with the action around Tropical Storm Alberto, which is pushing it all in to the west. Let's go ahead and take a look down in. Again, we can see, kind of compare and contrast what was going on there. Make sure I got the right button. What was going on down into, if you get that for me, my weather alert's going off there. And we'll go ahead and basically look once again and see that I'll go ahead and steer a different direction here. Looking at the opportunity for this activity to continue to push on through to the west. Now there you can see just how it's all continuing to move, and it's going to continue moving to the west at about 30 miles an hour. Let's put tracker on it and see. Going from Palmview on west, more through Penitas, more through La Jolla, and all this from Mission and Hidalgo. We haven't really zoomed in on Hidalgo a whole lot simply because it hasn't been a part of your situation most recently, but now it is. And we can see that moving on through the city as we speak. Now, the tornado warning was issued earlier based on activity that was spinning up from the thunderstorm that was energized by the tropical situation, by the tropical storm. Now we'll go back out and see what's left. And it's easy to see that, indeed, we still have the heaviest activity in the Penitas area and that's continuing to move out of Panitas and expected to continue moving through 9:20, probably 9:30. But that's, I think, where the focus is going to remain, is down in that part of the valley around south of Panitas, southwest of Palmview, but it's all moving to the southwest and out toward Mexico. So that is at least news that is dissipating and continuing to move off and away. Looking at Sullivan City and La Jolla, all of that continues to move off to the west. This is not the end of it. We have a tornado watch that's in effect, and that is in effect until 7 o'clock tomorrow. And you can expect that we may have more of these tornado warnings pop up regardless, simply because of the proximity of the storm to us. So let me go ahead and bring that back up, and you can see that indeed we have the tornado warning or tornado watch that's in effect till 7 o'clock, and then the tornado warning that's in effect until 9:30. And that's coming up here in just a few minutes, and I expect that we're going to continue to see that be an issue. Now I just figured out what was wrong. All right, now yeah, tornado warning. When I handed this over to Freddie, I pushed one of the other buttons. So anyway, the tornado warning is, and you can see all the rain that has fallen around the area from 4.5 inches to near 4 inches, 4.5 in Willacy County, and the near 4 inches in Weslaco, and McAllen 3 inches. Excessive rainfall is expected again overnight tonight through the night, and even into tomorrow we'll have excessive rainfall risk, and even into Friday, but less and less as we move on through the week. And getting back into our business at hand, which is the tornado warning and tornado watch. There we go. And we can see all of that continuing to be an issue for southern Hidalgo County. Let's move it back over here. There we go. Southern Hidalgo County. And noting that the tornado warning will give up at 9:30. But those of you west of Mission, those of you toward Palmview, and those of you on in toward the river and around Hidalgo as well, but mainly here in the red box, have to be concerned about that risk of the tornado 9:30. Now, I want to reiterate, the tornadoes that are associated with activity like this are usually quite weak and short-lived. So if you're in a permanent structure of any degree, then you should be just fine. Just stay indoors and let this pass, and you are good to go. Again, everybody has to watch out for this because the tornado watch is in effect till 7 o'clock. We could see more of this activity blossom and pop on through, but it has moved now west of McAllen, well west, and moved west of Mission, whether it's the hail threat or whether it's the tornado threat, is all pushed off to the west. And again, Freddie has just a little bit something more to add to this. Freddie.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brian. Overall, we continue to see plenty of showers picking up over the course of the day today. And in case you're wondering what some of the worry is here, I actually have a graphic that actually shows us exactly what some of our threats are. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. That's on our very first weather computer there. We'll pull that graphic up, and you're going to be able to see that strong wind. We've actually had some pretty strong winds out there. The biggest concern is going to be the flood and the coastal flooding, especially with what we've seen tonight going into Thursday. And Brian is right. Look, we do have that tornado warning in effect, and it's because of the conditions out there, right? The conditions are just right for us to see a possible tornado, but the threat of it is pretty low. So we don't want to completely discount that because, again, we are under a tornado warning within that area. So let's go ahead and put this out, right? We have the tornado watch in effect until 7 a.m. tomorrow, and that's for the entire Rio Grande Valley. Water spouts, also a possibility out towards the coast as well, but it's that tornado warning that we continue to watch, and that is in effect at least for another 9 minutes. Now, your rainfall totals your rainfall over the next few days are going to continue, not only for Thursday, but as we look out towards Friday, into Saturday, into Sunday. The thing that we're watching here, and Brian and I were talking about this earlier, is not just what happens today and tomorrow, because sure, we'll get pockets of heavy rain, it'll kind of fill up the streets and then go away. What happens when our ground becomes saturated? saturated as we get into Saturday, into Sunday, when we're still looking at about a 70% chance of seeing some rain. Monday, 50% chance of rain. As that rain continues, whether it be light or moderate, we could see some pooling on some of those streets. So we have this radar here that we're going to go ahead and look at really quickly. You're able to see what we've seen move through, not only from the coast, but down. And the reason why I wanted to show this is because it's not done as far as rainfall. There's more rain coming already through South Padre Island and moving into Los Fresnos, Bayview, and into Brownsville as well. So we're going to get another round of showers. It'll be interesting to see how well they hold up compared to the one that just moved through McAllen. In fact, let's zoom into that area, and you're going to be able to see just how much it's been moving from McAllen, Far, Alamodonna, and then how it's moved over the past couple of hours. And now sitting where La Jolla is right now, and of course where we continue to see that tornado warning in effect for Mission. Now we move out towards the west, and we see where it's headed. You're noticing almost taking more of a southwestern turn here as we get into La Jolla, Sullivan City, and then down into Starr County and into Mexico. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone out there isn't going to see any rain as you get into Rio Grande City and Roma. It's just showing that we're starting to see kind of that downward trend with that storm. So we have video from Alamo. Awesome. Let's go ahead and take a look at this video right now. This one showing the heavy downpours that were coming in from Alamo. And this was just about 15 minutes before the tornado warning was issued. And you can tell it becomes very dangerous very quickly. We're able to see not only the slick roads, but the pooling that we talked about, right? And how that can build up and make dangerous conditions out there, especially as you start to exit, you start to jump into that pooling of water. You know what I'm talking about. Be careful out there. Don't slam on your brakes. Go slow, because this can be very dangerous for you if you're going to be driving within the area. So again, we're continuing to see that, but of course we do have that tornado warning in effect. And in fact, Brian Hale back at the weather wall right now. Brian, do you have anything updated on what's happening there?
Continues to move at a good clip off to the west, and that's something we really have to focus on, because that takes some of the immediacy out of it for the folks that are behind it. So that's good news there. Let's take a look on down into Hidalgo County and see that that's the idea here, is that La Jolla, Sullivan City, you're seeing a majority of this, but the strongest part of the storm, the core of it, moving off and away down southwest toward the river. But we'll go right on into the La Jolla area and show you just what's cooking. And again, the military road goes right through here, and then you have 83 that goes parallel to it, and most of this continues to move on to the really west-southwest, and that's going to push on through fast enough that it shouldn't be too much of an issue in terms of flooding. But as Freddie pointed out, as these move through time and time again overnight tonight and into tomorrow and then into the weekend, we're going to see more and more of our ground saturated, and the problem is going to be compounded quite a bit over the course of the next 3 or 4 days at least on through. There we go. Boop, off toward outside of Hidalgo County. And for my money, this is all going to continue to sort of reset over the course of the night tonight. We'll have more of these areas pushing on through and driving on down in. Let's get the warnings back up so you can see just how things are shaking out. And indeed, this warning is hanging on, but there's precious little left in it. It's basically hollow. So all of this activity, which is pushed off to the west, is now driving across the river and done. So basically, this is a done deal, and we're good to go. This, again, tonight, overnight, we're going to experience this repeatedly, potentially repeatedly, with these small, weak tornadoes spinning up as a result of the energy introduced to our atmosphere by the tropical storm. So that's the cards were dealt overnight tonight. So stay tuned. We're going to keep you updated as well. Across the bottom of the screen, the crawl system will alert you as to if there are any warnings or watches and what to do. So we'll be here again throughout the night, and we'll keep you up to speed. Thank you.